All right, so we are working on calculate using a mortgage amortization schedule. So in the last assignment, we learned how to read an amortization schedule. Now we're going to create our own. We know a lot of this math already. We've used a lot of it in the past. So now we're going to go through and we're going to put it onto a spreadsheet, because understanding how these installment payments actually work and how it's going to work out for us is really going to help us understand what we're doing when we're borrowing. Like I've said in the past, maybe I haven't with you, but at least in person, borrowing money isn't necessarily a bad thing, but we always want to pay the best price that we can pay. So understanding how the interest is going to affect is really going to help us. So maybe some of these formulas are new to us, maybe they're not, but we're going to go through them and we're going to use them. And then when we talk about them, we'll be able to do this as well. So all of the directions for this assignment are right here. But what we're going to do first is we are going to go into Google. I would like you to open a brand new spreadsheet. I would like you to put your last name, and then we're going to put create amortization schedule. So this is something that we're going to use. Again, this is a tool that we can create that we are going to use on our assessments. So the first thing I would like you to do is go ahead and hit pause right now. And what I would like you to do is anything that doesn't have a color to it. So A1 through A6, I would like you to type all of that. B1, C1, all of these headers right here, I'd like you to get those typed out. I'd like you to get this part typed out, and I'd like you to do this. So go ahead and hit pause, and I'm going to talk to you about the formula. I'm going to base our example part so we can get everything set up is going to be based on this. So our example scenario is a young person is making their first home purchase. They have about $5,400 saved for a down payment, and this is the house that they have found. So this is just a house that's for sale right now in Ankeny, and the cost of the house is $179,000. Now that's going to come important later, but right now that's what we got. So when we go through that, what I'd like you to do is I would like you to highlight B2, C2, D2, and B3, just a color. It doesn't matter what color, you can match mine, I don't care. These are numbers that are going to change. So that's why they are colored. So we're going to type things in for that. All of the other ones that are white are things that we're going to put in a formula. Now remember from our past spreadsheets, formulas help us so we can input information and it'll calculate it all for us. Again, this is a very rudimentary type of thing, but this is essentially the idea. So we said that the cost of the home, the price of the home, and I put slash item because we might use this for auto loans, is $179,000. So that's where we're going to type that. Notice that all of my stuff is changing. You don't have your formulas in it, so that's why yours isn't changing. And we learned from our scenario that our down payment is $5,400. So we're going to type that. So something that I did that you don't necessarily need to do is I formatted C2, D2 as a dollar. You could also do this under taxes and insurance, and you just go up here and you format it and you go like that and it becomes a dollar. So we have that. B2 should be formatted as a percent. So again, you click on it and then you go like that. In our scenario, we don't have a percent rate, so we're just going to say that it is 6.5%. We're just going to use that right now as a pretty good percentage rate with everything that's been going on. Okay, so in B3, we're going to put 30 because we are doing a 30 fixed loan. So this is only going to work with fixed loans or fixed interest rate loans. This is not going to work with variables because this is a very like intro level to spreadsheets. Another thing is how many monthly payments do you make per year? There are 12 months in every year, so we're going to say that we're going to make 12. So that number is always going to, so in B4, that number is always going to be 12. We're just going to leave it there like that. Okay, so now let's get to formulas. So B1 is our very first formula that we're going to put in, and that is so go ahead and hit pause, and you're going to type that exact thing in B1. So hit pause now. In our taxes, now this is an estimate, this is not accurate for any particular location, this is just an average, a national average. We're going to type that in E2, and then in F2, this is the formula that we're going to type. In C5, this is the formula that we're going to type. Notice that they're highlighting the cells that I'm talking about in the formula. In E5, this is the formula that we're going to be using. Okay, so something that we haven't talked about is the payment month. So this refers to payment 1, payment 2, payment 3. So if you type 1, 2, and you see this little blue box right here, you're going to take it and make it a plus sign. Notice that I have a plus sign right here, and you're going to click on that and you're going to drag it all the way down until you get to 360 payments. It should have you stop at 366 right here. So this number right here is the row that we're in. This is actually referring to the payment. So something that students that have made mistakes in the past is they looked at this number, and you need to make sure you look at yours. Okay, so we've got all of that. All right, so 366. So if this were a 15-year fixed, right? So if we put 15 here, we could do that. Say it's a 15-year fixed at 6.5. Well, we would need to figure out 12 times 15, and then that would be where we would stop. But you can also tell, you don't have to do that math if you don't want. Right here shows that the last payment made on the 180th payment made is going to bring you down to a zero balance. And so you would look at that right there, and then that's how you would know. So even if it was so even shorter loans will work on this. So again, I'm going to put it back at 30. Okay. Now you should have already these headers right here all through 6, A, B, C, D, E, F, 6, all of these. So right now what you're going to do, this is what you're going to type in B7. That's the formula. The formula in C7 is this one, and this one is a doozy, and you have to type it exactly the way that I have it. The way that I have it is written as the monthly payment formula. I think we talked about this in student loans. If not, we're definitely going to be talking about it later in this unit. But this is the monthly payment formula, and we will be using this formula a lot. You have to type it the exact same way. All of the parentheses are important. Okay, so for the interest, we are going to type this formula. For principal, this is our formula. And our ending balance, this is our formula. So going back to monthly payment, going back to interest in D7, we're going to go type down in D8, and this is what we're going to type. And once we do that, we can go ahead and hover over here and we can drop that down. And just like with the numbers, we can go ahead and do that all the way down until we get to our 360th payment. Now, you may not see anything, and that's okay. If your numbers don't match my numbers by the end of this video, then we need to go back and check our formulas. You can go back to the worksheet and make sure you have everything typed out correctly, or you can just go back in the video somewhere. So things may not be populating as we go. I think the only things we have written down now are these things right here, right? Okay, so then what we want to do is when we get to this one, C7 minus, so E7, we want to take this drop down and we want to drop it all the way down to the 360th payment. And then we want to do the exact same thing for the ending balance. So make it a plus sign and drop it all the way down to the 360th payment. We need to go to B8 and we're going to type equals F7. We're going to hover over this, make it a plus sign, and drop it all the way down to the 360th payment. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put that this equals this. Now the dollar signs say it never changes, and that's because we don't want to type that formula over and over and over again. So we're going to do that, and we're going to take this right here, make a plus sign, and drop it all the way down to the 360th payment. Okay, so you should have everything. Go ahead and hit pause and make sure everything is there. So something I want to make sure that I make very, very clear when we're talking, if you go into any of these, so if I went into this cell right here and I just typed a number because I was going to make an extra payment or something, it will delete all of your formula. So you never want to do that. If there's an extra payment, you can type it over here, and then you need to, so let's say so my monthly payment on this mortgage is $1,097.27. That's how much I'm going to pay every month for 30 years. In the first month, $940.33 of that payment, of this $1,097.27, of that is all going towards interest, and only $156.94 that's going towards my principal. So notice that I'm still making the same payment, but I'm not making, and we should have seen this when we analyzed that amortization table. So I'm making more towards interest as I go, because remember, that's how banks do it. They get all of their interest paid up front and then as you go and as you make each payment, your interest, the amount of your payment going towards interest becomes less, and so forth. You're going to discover some things, so I don't want to give it all away. So that's why when you make almost a almost a $1,100 payment, that's your ending balance. It doesn't really go down that much. So you want to be careful with that. Okay, so and then another thing is you can manipulate this. We talked about how that can work. Yeah, so now you should be ready for the assignment. Here are your scenarios. You've got Tremaine. He wants a 1-bedroom townhouse. That's how much he wants to spend. That's his interest rate. It's a 30-year fixed mortgage, and that's their down payment. So you're going to go through that. You're going to type all of that in. Again, you're just going to use those highlighted things. These are the only things that you should be changing. We did use a formula to figure out how much our total interest was, and we did use a formula to figure out the total amount paid. You also can use summations for all of that. So if you wanted to add up every interest payment, you could do that, and you could put that right there. And the same is true for the total amount paid. You could add up all of those payments. So you could figure out this payment times 30 times 12, and so 360, then you would get your total amount paid. All right, if you have any questions, please ask the teacher that you're working with. Otherwise, you can send me an email. Again, I'm Mrs. Clark. I hope you have a great day, and good luck.